do you think owners or business leaders really have an obligation now to, because I'm struggling with, and I actually believe this. Do I have an obligation to create a workplace that people want to come to, right? So you may work remote, or we may have an arrangement with some remote people, but if you're a mom and you've got kids at home, I want you to want to get out of the office for a day and come in and maybe just, be able to plug into the professionalism of an office. And yet it's not it's not a cubicle farm. But I think about, how do we make this an enjoyable place to work? And that's better lounges, or more flexible workspaces. It's not sitting behind your desk and doing that. It's, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, again, there should be a culture, and I want the people to work remotely to want to be a part of it. And that includes, you can fly in anytime you want. My people know East Coast and West Coast. If you want to just come and work out of the other office, then do it. You don't need permission. Just book the flight, and we'll put you up.
I think more so from what I would say is, do you have an obligation to create that culture? Absolutely. But I wouldn't say that it has to be in a physical space. I don't think creating a place when you say I want it to be a place where people want to work, to me, what I think of is, who are the people that I'm working with? What type of environment? Do they call me to say, hey, how was your day? It's not necessary. I wouldn't define it in a physical space where if I cater lunch once a week, or if I allow dogs in the office. To be honest, I don't think people, especially millennials, it's a great perk, but they don't really care about that. What I care about is, do I want to work for this company, and how do they make me feel? And then I want to, whether it's going into an office or whether it's doing that, you build that loyalty or commitment and drive to do better for the company by those relationships and by that culture that's not defined in an office.
That's a great takeaway.
Whether you have one or
culture,
not.
So culture is not about the physical location at all.
I don't.
You're right. It's about the connectivity with the people. It's you want to feel, you want to be in the foxhole together, and you can do that without all being in the same place, right? Because you count on each other at those events that we're all delivering.
I don't think people go to an office obviously sometimes there are moments where you really do want to go to the office, or you need to for certain things, but I would say, as an overarching sort of opinion from my standpoint, I don't want to go into an office to go to an office to work. I want to go to the office to talk to my coworkers, to catch up with them, to, learn something new from someone who's there that I never, I don't get a chance to sit with, or those are the reasons why I want to go to the office. I don't really want to go because I'm going to get free lunch and ice creams on Fridays. That for me, it's not really a thing. And I think that's a huge shift back to the generational thing. I think a lot of millennials and Gen Zers, it's the same thing. It's, what is this adding to my life? And if I go into the office, what does that mean for me? And why do I want to go there? Well, it's for the people that I work for.
There's a millennial 10 years ago that yelled at me, and he goes, great culture is more than just free Panera, man. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
You're right.
Well, I think if you look at the companies that kind of led the charge with foosball tables and nap pods and cafeterias and all that stuff, it was a lot of the tech companies, like Google, for example. And they do that because they want you to live at the office. They want you to put in 120-hour weeks and have no reason to go home. And if that's what the lifestyle you're going for, that's great. But it does say a lot about your culture. I think one thing that you mentioned earlier, Noelle, about having, all of your work done at 2 p.m. and having to sit in the office or coming in late and getting weird looks, that says a lot about your culture, and that maybe, your tool of measuring productivity by the amount of time someone spends inside an office is really a vanity metric. It's not something that is actually meaningful. It's not a metric that matters. And a metric that matters is actually maybe your output, your contribution to the bottom line, but even to just the camaraderie on the team and the movement of work through the office and through the pipeline, things like that. So I think if a business owner or a business leader is measuring productivity by time in an office, that they maybe have that metric wrong. In the same vein,
Yeah.
I think if you don't have a metric to measure your remote employees, like now, Noelle, you've moved into more of a operations production role. Your measurement has probably changed on what people are measuring you on. Before it was sales in some capacity, also just inside sales with existing clients and making sure things are moving well. That's fairly measurable. But as you go into the operations, that measurement's going to have to change a little bit from a remote perspective. But they need to have something to measure you on, or measure the remote employees on. And if they don't, then they're always going to feel a sense of, man, they're not in the office. And what are they really doing? So I think that's what's key as the owner or the leader of your business, is understanding what really matters and having that metric to measure.